All defenders are likely losing the Acog next season. We are getting a brand new weapon with a brand new operator, and that weapon is likely to be a shotgun. And Striker and Sentry are getting an update next season as well. Here is everything that's likely coming in Year 10 Season 3, which is less than half a season away. First things first, let's talk about the Acog on defense. There is a 95% chance that the Acog will be removed off defense next season, Year 10 Season 3. Let me explain why it's a 95% chance and why they'd likely make this decision. First of all, during the Year 10 roadmap reveal, Josh the dev said that they will definitely confirmed be exploring Acogs on defense in Year 10 Season 3. Now, explore, you could argue, could mean change it between operators, add it, or remove it. However, there is no way, I am 100% certain, they're not going to be adding Acog to anybody on defense. And the reason why I believe this is because they have previously said that they are no longer going to use scopes on defense to balance operators. Instead, they will look at their kit and they will also focus on the actual operator's ability and not a scope. They're no longer using scopes to balance operators. For the last, 3 to 4 years, scopes have been a hindrance when it comes to balancing and caused balancing issues because they moved the 1.5 times from operator to operator, like Thorn had it because she was weak. Then they removed it because people only brought her for that. The same with Goyo, he now has it. Doc and Rook, you could argue that a lot of people only bring those people because they have the Acog and then don't actually use Doc's ability properly. The same with Warden. People used to play Warden because he had the Acog on 1.5 times. Maybe both, I don't remember completely. And then as soon as he lost it, nobody played him anymore. The issue is that Warden is circumstantial, and that's okay. Not every single operator needs to be good in all situations. And it's okay for Warden to be circumstantial. And now people, when they do bring Warden, they bring him because they want to use his ability and not just because he has a scope. The amount of times previously when a Warden would be in play, they'd put down smoke and begin to smoke plant, and then the Warden wouldn't actually use the ability because he didn't know how to play him, and it was just painful to see. This definitely made them aware that the scope isn't the thing to use to balance an operator and that they need to focus heavily on the operator. And so they've done this with Melusi. They removed the Acog off of Melusi and then instead gave her a secondary weapon as well as an extra Banshee. And with this, she is now able to do more creative things with her Banshees since she can open part of a soft wall or a soft floor and make the Banshee go through the wall or make the Banshee go through the floor. And it's a lot harder for the attackers to combat that. That change to Melusi put her in the top 5 defenders, in my opinion. I predicted in Year 8, Season 4, when they said that the 1.5 times was going to be addressed, I said they'll remove it. They did. And I said at that time, I can guarantee give it a year or so and the Acog will be gone too. Now, I didn't specify gone off defense really, but I always meant off of defense because I think attackers and defenders need different scopes. And this is where I will explain why I assume this will be their reasoning if they do remove Acog on defense, why attackers will keep it and defenders will lose it. As ever since I have brought this up, people have argued either give everybody an Acog or make everybody lose an Acog, and that's not a very good counterpoint to the defenders losing the Acog. First things first, the game is already defender-sided. Even if you take Acogs off of defenders, it is still defender-sided. The game is a defender-sided game, and the reason for this is because defenders can pre-set up a site, and attackers have to work with that and try to get into sight and into the building. Defenders are not designed to go outside, and defenders aren't really designed to hold super long angles in most scenarios. Now, don't get me wrong, on a map like Canal, defenders will have to hold longer angles because here, for example, Skybridge and Midbridge, they are much longer angles. So that's when an Acog would be beneficial. But the issue with that, the attacker also needs to try and swing that long angle. So if you have a defender holding a super long angle with an Acog, the attacker doesn't stand a chance because it's already at the advantage of the defender with or without Acog. The Acog just then almost guarantees them to win that gunfight unless the attacker has absolutely wild, insane aim. They will lose that gunfight. If all defenders had an ACOG, it would be a terrible idea because defenders can literally hold so many deep angles outside of the building. It makes it almost impossible for the attackers to push in. Even if they bring people to roam clear or bring people to try and get into the building, they still have to present themselves in some way to do most of what they need to do. And so for that reason, it would be super, super defender-sided if every single person had the ACOG. And we already know the devs are trying to prevent things like spawn peeking or making spawn peeking as common, if you will, or more fair, because there was the times where you could go on a ledge and sit on the ledge, and as soon as somebody would run in front of you, you could spawn peek them and they wouldn't see you before you had the chance to eliminate them. And yes, you can argue, well, they should drone better and stuff like that, but remember, Siege isn't just for high level players. Siege is for people between copper to champ, and obviously in higher lobbies people would drone it and then not push there, but it shouldn't be fair for people who aren't as good as the game to not be able to counter something because they're learning. And sure, I get it, after they die from it, they'll remember, they'll try it again, but that's enough to put somebody off the game. Defenders shouldn't be able to sit on a window ledge before the round has even begun, so then they put those invisible barriers there where you can no longer sit on a window ledge and do some of the scuff spawn peaks like you could do on theme park, and that is a good thing. Now, I personally have nothing against spawn peaks. I play in champ level lobbies, I drone for spawn peaks, I check for spawn peaks. I probably die to a spawn peak maybe twice a year at maximum. Like, I genuinely never get eliminated to spawn peaks. But in champ level lobbies, my teammates die to spawn peaks all of the time, and again, you can argue this is a skill issue, but in the current meta that we're in, people don't check for spawn peaks as much, and it's very much a run and gun meta, and I think Acog and scopes really cater to that run and gun meta, so I think it's a good thing, and the devs are trying to move away from it and have been for a while. But an ACOG also enables defenders to hold a really strong angle against attackers to the point where the attacker will never be able to get into the building if they all had the ACOG. Like, if you had 5 ACOGs, one set up at like every entry point of a site, they'll win that round, and it will just make the game so much more defender-sided. And yes, I know you can get people to move with nades and things like that, but if they bring a Jaeger, you're countered. You can get people to bring drones, but again, if they bring a mute or someone else, you've been countered. Defenders can counter attackers so much that giving everybody an ACOG doesn't make sense, so for that reason, they will take it off all of the defenders instead. I do think it's possible that maybe they will remain on like things like the Boss G and Kaid and Goyo's shotgun, like the TCSG, as those guns kind of make sense to have an ACOG. They would be almost impossible to use without that. And again, it isn't 100% confirmed that defenders are losing ACOGs, but I think it's 95% chance that they will be losing the ACOG because of what the devs have said in the past, because of what they've said recently as well. I genuinely believe that this will happen. I do think that defense will get a new shotgun next season, as the new operator coming to the game is a defender. Raura was the latest operator to come to the game. She's an attacker, so the newest one will be a defender. He's guaranteed to have a new weapon. They've already confirmed that every new operator will have a new weapon. And I personally think that it will likely be a shotgun. The reason for this belief is that if we look at every weapon we've had recently, it's been a pistol, it's been a machine pistol, we've had Scopos' SMG, AR thing. I don't really know if it's an SMG or an AR or both. I don't really know. We haven't had a new shotgun in the game for forever. Maybe since year 4. Was Mozzie Super Shorty like the last shotgun to come into the game? Maybe. I feel we haven't had a shotgun in the game either way for absolutely years, and they have said that the new weapon is going to be destructive. With that in mind, shotguns are the most destructive weapons you can bring, so I think it is likely that the new weapon will be a shotgun. Whether it's a primary or secondary shotgun, I don't know, but I do strongly believe that it will in fact be a shotgun.
A bomb has been located. Attackers activating diffuser.